And here we are. We are back with more Reddit relationship advice. Just browsing that Reddit page. A lot of people out there think that they're good at giving advice, and if you've ever actually read the responses that people give, they're not good at giving advice. They're horrible at it. But I'd like to think that I'm a little bit better. Why? I study a lot of psychology. I'm like really good at it. Okay, let's just get right into it. We'll go for like 25 minutes, 25 to 30 minutes. We'll see. We'll see how we feel. This is the second episode in this new, shorter format. Get right into it. I have not pre-screened any of these, so I know that in the last episode, the abortion one really threw me off. But it ultimately ended up being some really easy advice to give. I should get a pen or something so that I can write. Can I get a normal pen? Jeez. My family made a pact to not tell my sister, who told her husband where she was, but I'm starting to feel guilty. What the hell does that even mean? So, your family made a pact to not tell your sister, who told her husband where she was. Let's actually get into it. Your heading is super confusing, but I just kind of started the first line of the first paragraph, and it kind of makes more sense. So, my sister left her husband for 1.5 years, but they remained married. That's a weird dynamic to have. That'll also ultimately screw over the guy in terms of alimony because they're still legally married. I think once you hit like the 10-year mark, I know that's how it is here in California, but that's a completely different side note. She was supposed to be living in an apartment that her husband had arranged for her, but after a month of living there, she unexpectedly moved out without warning him. She told very few people where she was living and swore us all to secrecy. Why? Why? So he's at least trying to be a good enough man, a good enough husband, ex-husband, that he's not just leaving her with nothing. I'd love to know the dynamics of why they broke up 1.5 years ago, apparently, and why it is that he felt the need to support her for as long as he's been doing. Around 3 months ago, her husband visited our parents to ask where she was. This was the first time since she left that he actually made a move to find her. When our parents were telling my siblings, excluding the sister the post is about, and me the story, my brother Sam said he was shocked her husband hadn't offered them money for her location. That's a weird dynamic. My dad told him he did, but no amount of money would make them sell their daughter out. Well, Sam didn't share this sentiment and directly contacted her husband and offered to tell him for half. Oh, your brother's a dick. His girlfriend was the one who exposed him to us because she was horrified when she found out what he had done. What happened between Sam and the sister that he felt the need to sell her out? We couldn't do anything about it though, because by the time she had told my sister's husband had already showed up at her doorstep. When our parents saw that she was fine, they made Sam give them the money her husband gave him. And then everybody was sworn to secrecy to not tell the sister that Sam did that. The thing is, even though my sister seems happy and healthy, she keeps mentioning how she has no idea how he found her. She's been coming up with all these insane theories, and I'm worried that she's going to become paranoid. Ironically, she hasn't even thought that someone in our family would tell him. I feel guilty every single time I talk to her, but I've hesitated to tell her because I feel like maybe I would be causing problems for no reason. At the same time, she deserves to know the truth regardless, so what do I do? You do nothing. Now, why is doing nothing the right move here? Why? Because it's not your job. It's not your job to play the hero. In reality, telling her will create more drama. I don't know why it is that your sister and her husband decided to do this split that lasted for, the last year and a half without a divorce. I don't see anything in here about religion. I don't have any details about why their relationship is the way it is. We don't have any details about why Sam's relationship with the family is the way it is. It's not your job to tell your sister. Maybe you should kind of steer her away from the whole thing in general. You say that she seems happy and healthy. Personally, I question that. I question your judgment on that. There's a lot of things that I think that your sister would be better off with, as well as without. She doesn't need to know the details about how the husband found her. Just move on. I mean, you don't even go into any fallouts about what he was looking for her for, anything like that. I say just move on. horrible title. You've also never heard of the Enter key. It's a pain in the ass to read, so I'm going to skip it. I also had no desire just based on the title. I mean, that's not entirely true. The title kind of pulls me in a little bit, but man, that wall of text is awful. My boyfriend's friend made a gross sexual remark about my nationality, and my boyfriend laughed. So I, 19, have been dating my boyfriend, 21, for 2 months. Wow, 2 months. What's your secret? Last night he introduced me to his friends for the first time. It was his best friend's birthday. He was doing a barbecue on his rooftop. So I met them all at once. I was pretty anxious about it, but I figured it would be all right. When we arrived there, it started pretty well. His friends were all here. He introduced me to everyone and his girlfriend. Oh, he introduced me to everyone as his girlfriend. I was the only girl there. That's never a good sign. There needs to be a ratio. You guys are still both young, and going forward, I'll say it right now. I don't think this relationship is gonna last. But in the future, as you mature more and as he matures more, I think you both are going to realize what certain social interactions, not interactions, but what certain social settings should and should not be. This was clearly a guy's thing, and quite frankly, it doesn't feel like there should have been a lady there. And I'm not being sexist about this. In the future, there will be certain social gatherings that are you and a bunch of other women, and it wouldn't be right for a guy to be there. This was simply, he brought you along to something because he was too stupid to understand that you shouldn't have been there. He's only 21. 18 to 21 is just a horrible age range. You're legally an adult, but like, what does that even mean? You got no experience in anything. Anyway, let's move on. At some point, one of his friends noticed my accent and asked me about it. I told him that I was French. Okay, French. What stereotypical comments could a guy make about a gross sexual remark about her nationality? She's got to have hair everywhere, and she doesn't bathe. I told him that I was French, but that I had been living there for 4 years. So she's from France, but she's lived in, I'm gonna say in the United States. This doesn't come off as the UK. It comes off as the US. So she's been living stateside for 4 years. He then made a gross sexual comment about something that supposedly French girls do well. I was shocked. Huh. I turned to my boyfriend expecting him to defend me. He just laughed. I remained silent and I avoided talking to that guy for the rest of the evening. I'm kind of curious what supposedly French girls do well sexually. I'm not privy to whatever this joke is. I don't think I've ever heard it. I could have made a menage a trois joke, but that's not really something that a French girl does well. After we left, I told my boyfriend how upset I was that he didn't defend me and tell his friend that he was being inappropriate. He told me he was sorry, that he didn't realize that I was upset, and that he wanted to feel comfortable with his friends. But it was just a joke, just guy talk. He apologized about his friend saying what he said in front of me that he shouldn't have, but that it was just a harmless, funny comment. This is something that a lot of people don't get about guys. We think that camaraderie is building one another up, and to an extent it is, but for some reason with guys, building each other up is almost you do it the exact opposite way that you think that you would. Which is you say the most vile, terrible things as a way to show your support. Now, I'm not going to defend whatever this comment was. I think there is a fine line between, if I'm running one of my races with a friend and that friend trips and falls and I say, get up, you pussy, or something like that. Or if I say, hey, what's the matter? Did you just buy your legs on eBay and you haven't figured out how they work yet? Obviously, I'm not being serious. This is my friend. But for some reason, comments like that it is a joke. And in this situation, I think that your boyfriend, and all of his friends, you all fall victim to one thing. That one thing is that none of you are really that mature yet. You all need time to grow up. Yes, you included. Especially your boyfriend. Like I said, his biggest mistake was inviting you to this thing that was clearly supposed to be a guy's thing. You don't understand how he cannot realize how disrespectful it was. I agree. Again, he's 21? Yeah, 21. You guys have only been together for 2 months. Again, I don't think this relationship is going anywhere. But the good thing about this is that you will grow from it. You will learn more about yourself. You'll learn more about what you want in a partner. You can move on from this as a bigger person. And believe it or not, you have taught him a valuable lesson as well. And if this relationship does in fact end, it will end with him becoming a better person as well. Maybe he's not a better person for you, but he will be a better person for someone. Hopefully. Gotta throw that little thing in there. That one was an update. I didn't really want to get into one that was previously posted and then it's an update. We don't have the full story. Gained weight postpartum, feeling judged because I have a good looking husband. It almost sounds like the dream. Let me preface by saying that my husband is very conventionally attractive. I know the feeling. Even when he puts weight on, he's still really good looking, and he gets a lot of good looks. Also, he's never once said anything negative about my body. He always tells me how beautiful I am. So I know this is my issue. This is really interesting, the way that it's set up, because it's like you understand that this is something within your own head, within your own mindset. I feel like giving out advice on this is going to be really easy. It's going to be one where I say, go get some therapy or something like that, which is like the blanket advice you could give just about to any situation, and it'll always be valid. I feel like you're already like halfway there. You just need somebody to confirm that, that's what you need to do, is to get therapy. But let's continue. I've done extended breastfeeding with my son, and I feel like breastfeeding just makes me crave food all the time. I've gained a significant amount of weight quickly, and I'm mortified by how I look. I dated a guy who made fun of me for being skinny, and then made fun of me for being fat when I gained weight. So she's got serious body image issues. So there you go. Without even continuing on, you do have some kind of body dysmorphia where what you see is not the reality. Or rather, what you see is never what you want to be seeing. If you had the absolute perfect body, you would still feel this way. All because of that one relationship that you had. I don't know when it was that you had it, but it's amazing that you found somebody who so openly supported you and went on to marry you and all that. It's amazing that you found that. Don't ever let that go. Get some therapy. This is a really good line right here. Everyone keeps telling me I still look good. And then she admits right there, I'm not crazy overweight, but I feel like I am. So, again, you know what the problem is. You've already said you know that this is your issue. The issue is here, in your head. Now, this isn't the kind of thing that I can just say, just think differently. Because that's not how psychology works. That's not how the brain works. Definitely get into some therapy. Figure out how to kind of redirect your thought processes. Think about more of the positive things in your life. You know that they're there. And they're all being hindered by one bad relationship that you had who knows how long ago. How long has this really affected you? I wouldn't be surprised if you had dated that one guy and he got into your psyche and completely screwed you up mentally in terms of like body image. And then you just didn't date anybody for years. And then out of nowhere, this random guy comes up. You don't know it at the time, but he is your future husband. He randomly comes up and says, "Hey, you look good." Well, that's not something you're used to hearing. It's also something you're not used to hearing, again, up here in your brain, in your head. Maybe it's time that every morning when you wake up, you look yourself in the eye and you say, "I love you." Literally, say "I love you" to yourself. Say "you're beautiful" to yourself in the mirror. Literally look at yourself in the mirror and give yourself these positive affirmations. And of course, therapy. There's no perfect cure for any of this, but it's so amazing that you have this husband. And it's so amazing that you have the friend group that you do. That's amazing. Don't ever let those people go. You seem like you have a really good head on your shoulders. You have a pretty head on some pretty shoulders. Don't overthink this. And I think that's going to do it for this episode. We're going 28 minutes in. We're going to go ahead and pause it, give a couple minute rest, and then we'll get right on to the next episode. And get some therapy.